back. Still watching Business Morning right here on Channels Television. Well, yesterday we talked about that FRC, that's the Financial Reporting Council, and the cap which the federal government had put on those dues. That was really controversial at a time, and we know one of those who drove the conversation then was NECA. And so this morning we have the Director General of NECA, Mr. Dewale Smart-Oyorinde, joining us from our Abuja studio. Mr. Oyorinde, I thought I'll see smiles on your face this morning. You've gotten a positive response to your request.
Absolutely, absolutely, and it's our utmost commendation and appreciation to Mr. President for listening to the concerns of organized businesses, and also the Honorable Minister for Industry, Trade and Investment for our role, the other arms of the OPS, PEBEC, even FRC, for also agreeing to come to the table. So it was a news well received, as announced by the Honorable Minister for Industry, Trade and Investment, and for us it's another plus among the many pluses in the last 1 week.
So what exactly does this mean? What does it translate to for businesses?
For us, basically, and we must state this explicitly, organized businesses are not averse to regulation. Regulation basically is what we believe should drive businesses to promote competitiveness and also be the conscience, overall conscience, watching businesses to make sure they act responsibly. So we are not averse to regulation. We absolutely believe in responsible and responsive regulation. And sometimes we create laws or regulation that in the course of the implementation, it has the potential to do more harm than good. And the test of true leadership is to review those laws. A mentor once said, it's better to be inconsistent than to persist in error. And what we have seen is the demonstration of good judgment by all that has played their role within the context of reversal. So for us, it's about creating an environment that not only sustains current investment, but that will also promote and attract foreign investment. Now, the whole crux of the matter is the Section 33 of the FRC Act expanded the scope and context of what we call PIEs, public interest entities. And expanding the scope, it also did not put a cap on the levy that those PIEs will pay. So invariably, you see a public quoted company, a FRC, having a cap of 25 million per annum, and an unquoted company not having a cap. So you might have an unquoted company, an unquoted PIE, paying 100 million per annum, 200 million per annum. And there are some that are supposed to pay as much as 1 billion, 2 billion per annum. And these are unquoted companies. And we feel it is not justiciable. It raises unnecessarily the regulatory cost to revenue for these unquoted businesses, which also signals, it raises a red flag to the international community about the inhospitable nature of regulation in this environment. Those were the crux of the matter, and it was, we engaged constructively, we provided our facts, government listing, the Minister for Industry and Investment formed a technical working group comprising FRC itself, comprising SEC, comprising the Corporate Affairs Commission, the Presidential Committee on Fiscal and Tax Reforms was also involved, and the OPS was also involved, where conversation was held dispassionately. Facts were presented, and in the course of these, other agencies, PEBEC was also engaging, Alton, Association of Licensed Telecom Operators was also engaging. So it was a coordinated engagement. One of the best we have seen in this climb, where facts, figures, data played a major role in resolving this issue. And once again, we want to appreciate Mr. President, President Paul Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, for its listening ear and the role that was played by the Honourable Minister for Industry, Trade and Investment and other critical stakeholders.
Yeah, but this is a temporary halt. What's in there for the future? What happens after? How long is this temporary halt, and what happens afterwards?
You know, the ultimate is the amendment of Section 33, as was mentioned. The temporary halt is, first, the government has put a cap that the max that the unquoted businesses, PIAs, will pay is 25 million. So the next phase is to now work with stakeholders, including FRC, to determine the bands. If the max is 25 million, then there should be bands using different parameters to arrive at what PIAs will pay. And on the medium term, I don't want to use the word long term, the medium term is the amendment of the Section 33 of the Act, which will make the regulation more seamless, make it more business friendly, make it more aligned to the Renew Hope agenda of this government.
Right, Mr. Yonde, well, while we celebrate that, I guess this should translate to more profitability, productivity. I think that's what the consumers will be more concerned about.
Yes, because first is sustainability. You know, once the business is sustainable, its capacity to expand is increased. Its capacity to employ is also increased. And it also communicates directly to the international community that regulation and regulatory issues in Nigeria is not flesh and blood. It's something that can be resolved and resolved amicably. And for us, it also fits into the. In fact, for us as employers, as NECA, it's a week-long good news, because we had our summit last week, and then last week, Wednesday, Thursday, the president signed the tax bill, the fourth tax bill, on Thursday. Then on Saturday, the president also announced the issue on the FRS, and earlier, Mr. Rewane also gave a succinct graphic effect of the Dangote refinery, the issue of the energy and the likely positive effect that it will have not only on energy costs for organized businesses, but on Nigerians as a whole. And the more money Nigerians have in their pocket, the more their capacity to purchase, the more they increase their purchasing power, the more their ability to buy, and the more they buy, the more the ability of the business to produce. So that chain of production, consumption, we must keep it rolling for us to achieve a very reasonable GDP growth, and also achieve the objectives of this administration, the 1 trillion economy that we're all aspiring to. So for us, there is positives, and we hope that we'll continue in that line. Kudos once again to Mr. President for his very critical announcement.
So does this change the perception of policy flip-flop, which we've heard a lot of individuals complain about, especially when you look at it from the foreign perspective? You just brought in international investors. Does this change, or at least on the path of calming nerves along that line?
You know, for a foreign investor, one of the critical decision points for a foreign investor is how exactly are the current investors, how exactly are they faring? If there are issues, regulatory issues, how easy is it for it to be resolved? And those are signals that will significantly influence whether we attract foreign direct investment or not. But this issue that has been resolved quietly, but which is a big issue, is a signal to foreign direct investors that this environment is improving significantly, and businesses can be done without stress in this place.
And you know, the FRC Bank annual meeting that just ended over the weekend, they talked a whole lot about this, and we had the former advisor to President Donald Trump. And one of the things he says is, for a country like Nigeria, we see the reforms, but there's yet more reform to be held. So I want to believe that this is one of the reforms for you as employers in the country. Mr. Elumelu there said, whatever is good for the domestic investor is also good for the international investors. So if the domestic investors are not happy, you don't expect international investors to, jump on the boat. What else do you think should be given this kind of attention promptly to make the business and investing environment more friendly and attractive?
Now, we have resolved the FRCN issue by God's grace. Now, there are other silent issues that we are also engaging, that we are receiving very positive response from government. The investment going on in the trade and investment space, reforms going on in the Ministry of Interior with the immigration and the new immigration processes. And our engagement has been constructive, and it gladdens our heart that at least people are listening. The ministries are listening, the agencies are listening, and we are co-creating structures through our own positive recommendations. We are co-creating structures that will not only support local businesses, but also make the environment a bit more hospitable for business. And the more it's hospitable for business, the easier for employees to also feel the impact of the business. The more the international community will also feel comfortable to come invest in Nigeria. So it's a chain reaction. You resolve one, then your potential to resolve another is increased. And the more you resolve, especially the implementation of these reforms, the more you reform and the more you implement seamlessly, the more the confidence of the international community in your environment. So for us, I think we're in a positive trajectory, and we'll continue to play the role of institutions that will continue to share positive, alternative recommendations to government. I will believe government will continue to listen.
And I'm sure the tax reform, too, there's now a law. That's also to the joy of NECA.
Absolutely. Not only to NECA, even to employees, because it comes with many pots of positives. While it has been signed, the real issue for us will be the implementation process. And we believe strongly that the engagement will continue to engage as much as we engaged during the conversation of before the bill was signed. The Presidential Committee did a whole lot of work on sensitization. We believe that should also increase even as we approach January 2026. We have also planned a lot of knowledge sharing sessions with organized businesses. We have reached out to Federal Revenue for us to jointly organize knowledge sharing sessions so that we prepare organized businesses for a seamless implementation of this bill. Will there be challenges in implementation? Absolutely, there will be. But we can create a system where we together, create a structure that resolves those challenges that we'll face in the course of implementation even before they arise. It's a positive for organized business, positive to employees, positive to small and medium-scale enterprises, and we think with proper implementation and monitoring, the tax bill will change the landscape of businesses in this environment.
Right, so you talked about the implementation, which is a worry and for a lot of people, but we'll stay hopeful for it. It's supposed to start by January next year. That's the implementation and all. But what are some of the highlights of what you think are benefits to the real sector from the tax reform? We know, the low incomes would, to a large extent, not be taxed. That obviously is a good one. But, what else stands out for you in the real sector?
Now, let me point out two things, or two or three things. First, the fact that we have come to a point where our concern about multiplicity of taxes was addressed by the bill. If that is one of the things that the organized private sector will benefit, I think it is good enough. When we say in some areas, some states, businesses are paying over 90 different levies, taxes, and fees, it is not rhetorics, it is the fact. So if what this bill will do is to reduce that quantum of taxes that businesses are paying, I think is a positive for us. Now, the second part of this is, for every business that is established, you need consumers, off-takers, to patronize you. One other beautiful thing it has done is to put more money in the hands of Nigerians, put more money in the hands of small and medium-scale enterprises, put more money in the hands of employees, at least those earning within a cap, and the more money those have in their hands, the more money they have to patronize organized businesses, which also feeds into the production system. Not mentioning all the other benefits, the tax rebate, the reforms of the withholding tax system, and many others that are inherent within this bill. So for us, why we continue to monitor, as I said, monitor the implementation process, because that is where the real issues will arise. But we are glad that at least we have crossed this threshold of the bill being signed. Then we are moving to a more engaging process of reviewing in details those issues that might want to compromise the effective implementation of the bill. Someone said the devil is in the details, or the details is in the devil. I can't remember how he said. So going to the details is what we are doing next, and we are very sure that the FRS and other LRSs will be open to engaging constructively. It's our bill, and it's for the benefit of this country, and we are open to that engagement moving forward.
Yeah, I guess the most drastic part of that would be that the Revenue Service will be the only collector of taxes. I think I would really love to see how that works. But thank you so much for your time, Director General of Employers Consultative Association, Mr. Diwali Smart Oyerinde, for your time this morning.
Thank you for having us.